Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Jacki. Thanks for joining us. So we're just getting started with tonight's meeting. I'm going to turn it over to you, Joe. You want to introduce Jozi?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Josie, for coming, and welcome to the Sterling Downs Neighborhood Association meeting. We usually do have more people than this, so as Gary was saying, we're a little bit surprised for the light turnout, but we do also get people watching our recordings online. So I'm really glad you're here. So hi, everybody. This is Ms. Jozi Plut, who's our city clerk here at the city of Belmont. And she actually has been working in the municipal government since 2006. And it sounds like, Josie, you've done a lot of different things. So you really know the city. You've worked in public works. It sounds like you were a payroll tech, deputy city clerk since at 2009, an executive assistant to the city manager, and you've been our city clerk since July 2021, as well as communications coordinator. So that's a lot of different hats that you've worn in Belmont. And I think it's really great that we have your experience.
Thank you. The payroll was this big. It was more Excel spreadsheet filling in, but that's what it was called at the time. It was a couple of months, but yes.
Yeah, so we really appreciate you being here. I know that all of us who have been to city council or planning commission meetings have seen you run those very ably and sort of manage the traffic and keep everything on track. And so really glad to have you here, especially in your role as kind of communications coordinator and helping with outreach. Because one of our goals as a neighborhood association is to connect our residents more with the city, to understand how the city works, how they can be more informed, how they can get involved if they want to be involved. And so tonight, that's one of our themes or questions for you, was to talk about some of the different commissions, things like planning commission, everybody knows, but I know there's other things like the Measure I committee that just, what are ways that the residents can learn more and can get more involved? And we'd love to hear from you about that. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Sure, no problem. And actually, I was going to share a PowerPoint, but it's disabled, so I can just talk to my PowerPoint here.
Yeah, maybe Carrie, you're on mute, but maybe as the host, you can.
I just made a co-host, Josie, so you should be able to share it now.
Okay. So I actually, after being invited to this, I was kind of exciting because we had been talking about putting something like this together. And so you just kind of put a fire under my my feet here.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to bore you, but I would like to give you as much information as possible on all of this. So I will go ahead and jump in. So your question was, what are they? You said you know a little bit about the Planning Commission, but I'll just go ahead and just start from the beginning here. And so why would anybody want to consider? And some of you here, I know Carrie very well, and Joanne, I've seen you at some of our meetings and all, but some of your other residents may not know all of this background. So hopefully with it also being recorded, it might be helpful to someone in the future. So, democracy is for the people. And so it engages residents in a broad spectrum of in civic matters. Residents can participate to be included in those who are interested and or affected by decisions that will be made on issues of relevance to the community. Residents can participate in more inclusive inputs that reflect their community's voice. And the city is interested in attracting a broad range of applicants to reflect our diverse community. And I should preface that we are going to be sending out a press release with recruitments for our next panel of interviews for upcoming commissions. And so you can watch for that after you've seen everything on this. I should probably go and see if I can move this into here. Yeah, I don't know if does that help? This always happens to me when I have two screens, so
we can see it, Josie.
Yeah, I can see it fine. Yeah, you've centered it more now. Oops.
The organizational makeup of Belmont. So the Belmont is a general city law or general law. I've got all these things here. That general law city that operates under general laws of the of the state in respect to all of its municipal doings. The city council is the governing body. It has 5 members that are elected by the Belmont residents, and the mayor is at large, elected for a 2-year term, and our council members are a 4-year term, and also elected by their districts. The Belmont City Council, they enact ordinances, which is our local law. They set policies on land use and other matters. They approve programs and annual budgets, appropriate funds, and establishes local fees. The council appoints our city manager to implement the priorities and policies and manage the city's budget and operations. The council also appoints our city attorney, as well as the members of the city advisory committees, commissions, and other boards. The city attorney is the legal advisor to the city and advises the city council, the city manager, and the city staff, but not individual members of the public. Often we get calls, but our city manager or city attorney is not able to advise the public. Additionally, the city attorney also represents the city in lawsuits and prepares ordinances, contracts, and other legal documents. This is our org chart. It's fairly new. We have some new members to our institution here, and you will see that the residents of Belmont, you are our bosses, really. And it then flows down to the city council, and then you have your community advisory boards, which currently we have the Planning Commission, the Parks and Rec Commission, and the Measure I Committee. From there, it goes down to the city attorney, city manager, and then staff. And then, like I said, I will put this on our website, and also this can be found on our website. Okay, why aren't we advancing?
And sorry, Jozi, if you don't mind me interrupting, I'm sure you'll get into it a little bit more later too, but I was also confused that there's only 3. I guess I thought I've seen things like the audit committee. There's a public safety committee, but are those considered to be different than like?
They are. Those don't have a public member on those. Those are subcommittees of the city council. So on the audit committee, 2 council members sit on that one. The public safety committee is the mayor and the vice mayor. The Measure I is the only one that actually has a public participation of 5 members, which of one we have one now that is vacant. So as we were saying, the Belmont's advisory bodies are established by local law and provide community input and advice in specific areas of interest. Boards, commissions, and committee members act as the advisory body to the council on policies that is to assist the city council in carrying out their responsibilities and our strategic goals. So once a year, the city council meets, and it's a whole day process, and we go through what they would like to achieve in a year or the upcoming year. And in this case, last March we met and we put together a 3-year strategic plan. So that can also be found on our website, and it lists out some of their priorities for the next few years. And then to these committees, staff liaison provides support and guidance, and it's usually provided by the department head. They are like the head of the commission, so to speak. And in this case, with our planning commission, it's Carlos de Mello, director of planning and development, and Bridget Shear, who is the director of the Parks and Recreation. And then qualifications. So to be eligible for an advisory body in Belmont, you should be a City of Belmont resident. You may not be an officer, meaning or an employee of the city, except otherwise provided. And sometimes the exception is when a staff member sits on one of these boards. You are required to take ethics training, which California voters passed. It's the Political Reform Act of 1974. This law declares that public officials should perform their duties in an impartial manner, free from bias caused by personal and financial interests. You will be required to provide an economic interest disclosure. It's called a Form 700. And it's through the FPPC, and public officials most regularly file reports that disclose investments or other interests of real property and other sources of income and gifts. Those reports are known as statements of economic interests, and any member of the public has the it is open to the public. In other words, if you want to go, if you come to my office and want to see those forms, and actually they're also available online. And then conflict of interest disqualifications, and that is when public officials generally cannot be involved in governmental decisions if the outcome of a decision impacts their personal financial interests. And that'll include where your property might be situated, both rentals and home properties. Or if a financial interest exists in a reasonably foreseeable future, that the outcome of decision will have a material financial effect on the public official. And then acceptance of gifts. The value of gifts that the public official is allowed to receive each year for a single source is limited. And gifts include event tickets, meals, travel, and similar items, dinners and such. And those are all under the FPPC guidelines. After the appointment, you will need to submit to the city clerk, myself, acknowledgement that you understand the city's code of ethics and conduct, and the appointee must, throughout the period of appointment, be eligible to hold office and to timely comply with the following requirements, and that is submit their attesting that the appointment has that the appointee completed an ethics training. It's called AB 1234. Within 30 days, and that is everything from what we've just discussed, participating in, ethically participating in the role that you have been seated for or to, and not accepting those, lack of better words, bribes or economic gifts of various sorts. And then you also need to submit that Form 700 within the first 30 days of your appointment. And then it's a yearly submission every April 1st they are due. More on commitment. The responsibility varies from individual commissions, but you can expect to attend 1 to 2 meetings per month, and they can be anywhere from 1 to 3 hours each. Commission meetings are held weeknights, planning and parks. Planning is twice a month, the parks is once a month. And they do occur sometimes during the day, but most often they're in evenings. And the time commitment to review the agenda can be kind of substantial as well. Regular attendance is critical to be effective in the operation of the board, commission, or committee. Quorums sometimes can be a struggle, especially if, there's something like a COVID where people get ill. But we try to strive for getting those quorums in those meetings so that the business of the people can be done. And then these are volunteer positions. They are generally unpaid, with the exception of the Planning Commission. They get a small stipend. And we're talking, I think it's like $50 a month. And that's basically for any kind of travel within the city where you're visiting properties or whatever you would be whatever would be in front of you for a certain meeting. Let's see. So more general responsibility is you have to understand the role, scope, and of your responsibility and be informed of the objectives and procedures of the individual commission or committee. And that all is provided with that staff liaison, the city manager, the city attorney. They sit down with you and go through what is expected. While council members are elected by the district, there is no provision that the commission or committee members are similarly distributed, although we do strive to put that in place. Members should represent the city at large, and not a particular neighborhood or special interest group. Members serve as a communication link between the community, staff, and the city in reviewing city programs, initiatives, and make recommendations and providing a channel for resident expression. And they should establish good working relationships with other members and, again, make recommendations and advise the council. So on the Planning Commission, they're required to understand the Brown Act as it mandates that bodies like the commission conduct business only at authorized meetings that are noticed and open to the public and only discuss what is on the posted meeting agenda. They should not participate in deliberations regarding items in which they have a financial or strong personal interest in the outcome. They should participate in training and attend at least one optional, and it is very highly recommended training. It's called, by the League of California Cities. It's a Planning Commissioner Academy. It's up in Sacramento. It happens in March, and it is for the Planning Commission only. It is not the Parks Commission, but a lot of what I'm going over generally is explained in very detail and what the law requires. Planning commissioners should read and respond to communications from the public to them. And often, I shouldn't say often, every now and then respond to public records requests. Most of those are done through my office and generally through the departments that are affected. And attend the AB 1234 ethics. This is a training that is done biannually and is often done online. So there's not travel for this one. The Planning Commission roles and responsibilities, they should be familiar with the general plan as it impacts the work of the commission. Am I on the right one here? No, I'm sorry, I haven't done that yet. The Planning Commission is a permanent committee made up of 5 or more individuals who have been appointed by the City Council to review and act on matters related to the planning and development in the city. Planning is proactive, as you all know, a process that establishes goals and policies of directing and managing further growth and development. Local agencies plan to address fundamental issues such as location of growth, commercial and housing needs, and environmental protection. A lot of this is also, mandated by the state. A planning commissioner, when reviewing the application, is acting as a quasi-judicial capacity and acts almost like a judge in a courtroom, and must apply Belmont's currently adopted zoning rules and policies that affect and not be biased in the objective to the matter. A development applications are reviewed under objective standards. The Planning Commission is not a forum of personal opinions, but rather serves as a decision-making group hearing that must follow existing law and provide due process to all participants. And additional responsibility of the Planning Commission is periodically asked to make recommendations to the council on zoning rules and policies that regulate development. And more specific to Belmont, you should be familiar with the general plan. because it does impact the work of the commission. Attend meetings on the first Tuesday of the month. They do begin at 7 p.m. And prior to that meeting, the requirement is 72 hours. You receive an agenda packet of items sent from the city, and that has all of the information, including a staff report, summary reports, presentation materials, motions, actions, for discussion of that evening. And then some meetings have informative presentations that don't require any actions, more for an FYI or just accept reports. And then much of the work includes single-family home additions and permit expectations. In the addition to the agenda packet, architectural design drawings will be provided for individual projects as required. And most of this material can be viewed online through email or what have you. Sometimes it is better if a commissioner comes in and looks at those big plans, because they don't email very well. And then the work also includes zoning compliance review, and then zoning designates land for specific uses as far as residential, commercial, and non-residential development in the city. The Parks and Rec Commission responsibility, I think they only get one slide. It's a lot easier to get through that commission, or it's a little bit more fun, some people say. And it is also an evening meeting. It's once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, from typically 7 to 9. And they also review a commission packet prior to the meeting. They're under the same influence of the 72 hours. And they become familiar with ongoing and new projects within the city. They do participate in ad hoc committees, and those are just if there's, something happening. For instance, we have the Barrett Community Center, or if there's a park that's coming up, you can take a few members off of that commission and have them sit on the ad hoc committee and then report back to both the commission and then also the council. Read and respond to communications to the commission. Both commissions do that. And then you serve as an ambassador for the Parks and Recreation projects and activities, Community Center, PROS Plan, Twin Pines Plan, the age-friendly city activities, DEI incorporation into Parks and Rec programs. So those are some of the initiatives that our Parks and Recreation Commission is currently working on, or has been working on. And they also participate and attend Park and Rec events throughout the year. And I'm sure that you are aware that we have quite a few of those. And then also attend a countywide commissioner workshop, which is, again, kind of like the one at the Planning Commission attends, but this one is biannual, so they don't have one every year. Measure I. The Measure I is one of our lesser commitments. The committee's duties are to review the Measure I annual finance statements and the audit opinion of the city's independent auditor. They provide reasonable assurance that the Measure I funds are being properly spent and reported on by transmitting a report to the council. You will know that the Commission I, or the Measure I committee was formed after our measure went to the taxpayers, and this is just kind of an oversight committee. The committee is independent and an advisory process. Committee members do not have a role in determining the use or of the revenue generated by Measure I. The committee meets twice a year. They just had a meeting last week. So once typically around mid to late November, early December. and they review the Measure I audit report. And in the spring, to be briefed on the annual budget and forecast for the Measure I revenue and projects. What do we have here? The city opens, okay, so how and where to apply. So the city opens official recruitments for commissions in late November and usually runs through mid-January. And applications are accepted all year round at any time, and they are placed in queue for when the council decides to interview, which is usually late January up to mid-February. Applications can be found on our website, or you can email me, call me, and I will send you one by email or even US mail if necessary. I will also accept applications via email or US mail or hand delivery. The clerk's office then works with the applicants and the council to set up interview times. And interviews are usually conducted by the entirety of the council, unless something comes up and they are not able to make it. It is possible also that the council will appoint a committee or subcommittee of the council to do the interviews and then report out at a council meeting where they would also make the appointments. And those appointments are usually done in March, the first meeting of that month. And then which committee is right for you? Like I said, we have the two commissions and one committee. That is not to say that more cannot, be addressed or formed later. And more information on all of these committees is on our website under the boards, commissions, and committees page. And then we mentioned earlier that there are other committees. Yes, there absolutely are, but then there are also other ways of participating. And actually, in my Parks and Recreation slide, so if there are teenagers in your neighborhoods that are wanting to get involved in government, we do have 2 members on our Parks and Recreation Committee that are considered youth commissioners. They get a packet, they sit on the dais, they participate, they just don't vote. And those are ages 13 to 17. They have to have parental permission to be part of our commission. And we've had 2 members for many, many years now, and they are quite some sharp kids usually. They do bring a lot to the table when they participate, and they take it very seriously. And then in addition, the Parks and Recreation Department always has something that you can volunteer at. The police department has a volunteer program. We have the Parks Boosters. Many of you are probably familiar with their summer events. Again, for the youth, we have the Youth Advisory Committee called the YAC, or the Volunteers Outreach Involvement Community Events Services, called Voices. And then many of you may know Carl Middlestat. He is a retired Parks and Rec director, but also now our historian at the history room here at the Manor. And then we have the Community Emergency Response Team that is through the fire department, police department, CERT. That is pretty intense. That's quite a commitment. And then there are absolutely various events or opportunities for, a day of volunteering or a couple of weeks. Just kind of have to keep an eye on it as our information comes through our weekly updates and our social medias and all of that. So all great ways of giving back to your community and, just making Belmont what it is. And I think that is my last slide. Yes, it is. I know that's a lot of me talking, and there is a lot of information here. I hope I answered questions, but if there are any more, I'm happy to do so, or at least try to.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, that definitely exceeded my expectations. Just the amount of information you're sharing is fantastic resource. And now I'm really glad that we're recording this, so that we have this for our residents. I really hope we can continue to encourage people to get involved and get informed and get their kids involved maybe too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. It's
Oh, you already answered one of my questions, so I really appreciated that. Anybody else? I don't know if Kristen or Ken, anybody has any other questions? Kristen looks good.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Thanks, Jozi.
All right.
I have a quick question. I
Sure.
know you mentioned that you'll be releasing a press release in a little bit to
Mhm.
let people know about the positions that are
Yes.
open.
Mhm.
Do you know about when that's going to be and about how many openings there will be on the different commissions?
Yes, so I will definitely get it out by Monday or Tuesday of next week. And then I believe we have, I want to say 3 seats on parks. We have 2 seats on planning, and then we still have 1 Measure I appointment that we need to fill. We just had interviews a couple of weeks ago, and they appointed 4 individuals at the last meeting for the Measure I committee. But we need 1 more for a 2-year term. And I didn't mention in there, but the terms are staggered so that there's no issues with quorums and such. If someone should, resign or something else should happen. So right now, 2 commissions are at capacity, but the Measure I is still 1 individual off.
Great. Thank you, Jozi.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you
Then,
again so
yes.
much for coming.
Absolutely. And like I said, the applications are online, and if anybody needs them or if you would like copies, just let me know and I can send those out to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Good night.
Night. Thank you, Jozi.
And hi, welcome, Supervisor Corzo. So good to see you, Noelia. Thank you for coming also. As
Thank
well
you for
as,
having me.
Jacki. Yeah, thanks both of you. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, but appreciated, of course, that you've been a staunch participant around Belmont and meeting our residents. Some of our Sterling Downs folks might recognize you from our National Night Out where you've stopped by before. So it's so great to see you again.
Likewise, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I think everybody knows your name, but I did want to provide just a brief introduction for people who would like to know a little bit more about you, and also like to feel free to introduce yourself as well. But in particular, for people that don't know, Supervisor Corzo is a San Mateo resident. She grew up in the city of San Mateo. She's also a single mom. I'm a parent as well, a dog owner. I am as well, and the daughter of Guatemalan immigrants. You made history when you were the first Latina elected to the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, and unfortunately, in my opinion, currently the only woman on the board. Would like to change that in the future, I think. So you're currently representing District 2, which is San Mateo, Foster City, and about a bit over half of Belmont, including where we live here in Sterling Downs. So Supervisor Corzo is our supervisor. I think everybody knows that. And yeah, I've got a great statement here. You're passionate about interrupting inequity, promoting representation and belonging, and creating lasting change that better serves all, which is just a really great statement. So welcome. We're really glad to have you here. And as you heard from Ms. Plut, who's our city clerk, our theme tonight is about civic participation and ways that residents can get involved in their local government. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. I'm going to add just a little bit to my bio, just so folks get a little more context on what my experience as an elected official has been. And that basically is having served for 5 years on the San Mateo Foster City School Board. So it's not as common for county supervisors to come from the school board background, but not impossible. Supervisor Dave Pine, as well as several supervisors in Santa Clara County, made that jump as well. So I share that to make the point that, you know, there's many areas that I have been immersed in and had to learn a lot about very quickly, including annexation, including zoning, land use, etc. But it's been really fun to learn about because I'm a bit of a nerd and I love learning. So yeah, just to add more context there. Thank you for sharing the mission of the District 2 team. That's actually a mission that we all came up with together. It's really important to the entire team. So I'm excited to talk more about commissions and the importance of representation. And I want to note that for many folks, commissions are kind of a first step into public service, right? Making the transition from a community member to someone who is representing others often happens by starting with commissions. So I want to kind of name, and I think, you know, I said this at National Night Out, and it's something that has come up, you know, since then in my work on the board. But I really believe that, you know, when we have underrepresentation in communities, we do have to make special efforts to get those voices to the table and to be heard. And one thing that kind of resonates, still resonates to this day, and is something that I am lifting up in the board meetings with the other supervisors, is the idea that, you know, yes, we need more housing, but it cannot always be concentrated in only certain areas. And that actually, I want to share, is a priority for the state as well. So they have specific mandates for city and county housing elements, for jurisdictions to actually include, to spread, right, the weight of new housing, to also include areas of basically historic affluence. And that is almost exactly how they name it in the state law. So I just wanted to kind of lift that up. Let's see. So I'm gonna transition now to talk more about the boards and commissions. And let me just start by saying that if there is an area of interest that you have, it is very, very likely that the county has a commission that does that kind of work. Because the county does, you know, public health. It just basically so many areas of our lives that you know, are touched by county government that sometimes we don't even think about or realize. So let's see. So, you know, I'm not going to repeat what you probably already heard from Jozi, was it, from the city? But the commissions are an opportunity for residents to really lift up what, you know, what lift up their voices in and make, you know, recommendations to decision makers like board of supervisors or like the city, or sometimes if, you know, if it comes to planning or within the county, the Civil Service Commission, they make very final decisions. So in planning, they can approve projects. In the Civil Service Commission at the county, what they do there is, you know, any kind of HR related issues that county workers want to appeal or have heard by that commission, they can do that in that space. Doesn't always happen that way. They can also go the route through their unions, but it does happen, and that is a commission. So let's see. So the main requirement for the County of San Mateo is that you be a County of San Mateo resident, as you all are. Some of them have additional requirements. So some require that you be from a specific district within the county. And typically the terms are 3 to 4 years. Vacancies can happen anytime. And for most of our commissions, unfortunately, they are volunteer positions, which is not my favorite thing about the commissions. I really believe in paying people for their time. So hopefully that can change in the future. I believe, did Jacki just share the link to the vacancies? I believe she did. But our current vacancies, and I can share my screen if that's helpful. let's
Yeah, I
see.
think
Oh,
Clary's gonna have to enable that for you to give you permission to
oh,
share.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's fine.
I just added you as a co-host. No,
Okay.
be able to do that now. Thanks.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Jackie, for putting the list in while Noelia is pulling up her screen. This is a pretty impressive list. I see what you're saying about almost any topic you can think of. There's a commission. So hopefully everybody has a chance to see it. And
Oh.
maybe we can ask you questions about ones that catch our eye, maybe. I think one that
Okay.
we're going to talk about that has an opening that I would also like to hear about, because I get your newsletter now, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
I saw that there were openings. Specifically was the Commission on the Status of Women.
That's
I
right.
would love to hear more about that one.
Absolutely. That's a really important one. And I'm happy to talk about it, but the expert really is Jackie, because she goes to all of the meetings and I don't make it to all of them. But I can share kind of an overview. And one of the things I like to do with my team is also like give them the floor and you know, where they are experts, you know, have them kind of share that expertise as well. So this is the website. There are vacancy notices right here. And as you can see, there are many vacancies, but like I said, some of them are district specific. So you kind of have to click through. There's not actually a way yet to see by district, but maybe we can do that in the future. And then here is the online application kind of portal. Oh wait, sorry, that's actually the application. I remember there being a portal. Jackie, do you remember the portal? Maybe it's over here. Here, okay. I feel like they updated this recently. Oh, okay, here we go. This is what I'm talking about here. So this is where you can kind of find out information about meetings. This is the portal that I remember seeing. So you can see, you can click through and here, you know, here's 3 vacancies. You know, the notices is another way to go about it, but I kind of like going through each one so you can like read the summaries of what each commission does. See, here's assessment appeals. Some of them are very, very specialized. Like assessment appeals has to do with basically any issue that there is around property tax, and it gets very, very technical. So that's kind of led to the vacancies, but that also means that those 3 commissioners cannot miss a meeting or else the meeting can't happen. So I would really, if you know anyone that really loves like property tax assessments, send them our way. Here, so 5 vacancies on the Behavioral Health Commission. Yeah, there are many, many commissions here, as you can see. Let's look at the Commission on the Status of Women. Oh. There we go. Oh, this is maybe not fully updated here because I believe that, what are there 2 vacancies right now, Jackie?
Yes, there are 2, and they just extended the deadline to January 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love to have applicants from District 2, so I encourage you to apply.
Yeah, and just another reason why I like looking at this kind of this whatever this is portal here is because you can see like really quickly in one place the agendas, the time and dates of the meetings, what the membership. It's a really good overview. So, okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. If we haven't shared the link, I'll share it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, yeah. Another thing I wanted to share is that, you know, beyond just the commissions, there are also other opportunities. And kind of going back to, for whatever area of interest you have, there's an opportunity. For example, if you are really supportive, let's say you donate regularly to Samaritan House or to any of our core agencies, there's a commission that is responsible for overseeing all of our core agencies in the county. That one's called the Community Action Agency. I'm the chair of that group there. There are also, there's First Five, if you're really into early learning. There is, let's see, what else is there? If you're into climate change, there's the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. So there, let me see if I can find.
I put the list of the in there.
Yes.
I'll drop it again.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so just, you know where to look, but there are other commissions I didn't mention. There are 5 vacancies on the Commission of Disabilities, 3 on the Commission of Aging, Commission on Aging, sorry. The LGBTQ Commission, there's 1 vacancy. And, you know, beyond the commissions, again, you can sign up for my monthly newsletter. We do share opportunities to engage there. We also have our District 2 survey right now that we're collecting, you know, feedback from the community on, and that survey actually will be informing a strategic plan that we are in the process of developing as well. And one of my personal goals for District 2 is to kind of create like a shared identity for our district. I feel like other districts kind of have that shared identity a little bit, and that's an area of growth for us. Also, I have almost monthly, for the most part monthly, cafecitos, so coffee chats, but in Spanish, cafecitos. And this coming month, we are actually gonna, my family, like I mentioned, or like was mentioned, is Guatemalan American, and so a traditional drink from from Guatemala is called ponche. It's a hot fruit cinnamony drink that we drink around the holidays, and so my mom's gonna be making that, and it's gonna be a good time. So you're welcome to join us there as well. I'm happy to answer questions. I didn't have a PowerPoint, but I think for the most part, you have access to the information that you need, and I hope this was helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I have a question, and I don't know if maybe you would know the answer. How would you kind of rate, what am I trying to say? How do you feel like civic participation is from all of our residents here in District 2, maybe compared to some of the other districts?
To be quite honest, I think that our district kind of has been a little, there are some districts, as district supervisors who have spent years doing a lot of community engagement and really being present at community events. And I don't know that that's been the case for our district specifically. And this past year, while I've been immersed in learning and you know, my 15+ committee assignments, because it's not just the board meetings I go to, I have to go to all these other meetings, sometimes out of the area, you know, San Jose, San Francisco, for the regional assignments I have. But we have started to do tabling at community events, and you know, we're doing intentional outreach with the survey. So we're getting there, but year 2 is really, I think, where we're gonna, you know, be much more present at, let's say, like the water dog run, and you know, some of the festivals. We're gonna be very intentionally tabling at higher visibility events so that we can start building that community awareness.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, glad to hear that. Yeah, please let us know, and especially Carrie is our neighborhood association president. She knows all the other neighborhood association presidents here in Belmont. So if that network is useful to you, we'd love to partner with you. I know something Carrie and I have talked about, and other members here, and that I've talked to Gina Latimerlo about, who's our city council representative, is trying to get more involvement, not just from our district, which is great, but from groups in our district that don't always speak up. And in particular, like for our planning commission, I've talked to Gina about, we'd love to get some renters on there, right? It shouldn't always be homeowners, right? It just as one example of a kind of diversity that people don't always think about. So yeah, this is something that's really of interest to me. And again, Carrie within Belmont has a fantastic network. I'm sure you have a network outside of Belmont too, Carrie. I just know you know everybody. So if there's any way that like we can help connect you with events or we would love to help with that mission of neighborhood participation and connection.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And one thing that I forgot to mention a little bit, which I think is a good example of kind of some of the not as high visibility, but really like deep and meaningful work that we are trying to do for some of our most vulnerable residents is, the work that we've been doing this year to support the Harbor Mobile Home Park community. We just had a meeting earlier this week where we brought we partnered with the city, we brought the Department of Emergency Management, we brought folks from Public Works to give information and also just hear from residents directly about what their needs are, and and to hear their perspectives of what they went through earlier this year, so that we can all really like be clear on the urgency around being more prepared and very intentionally supportive, so that we don't see our neighbors in that situation again. And also, the city gave information about annexation. I think that it's not necessarily in Sterling Downs, but it's close. It's very close. So if you're interested, I don't know, Jacki, if you can find the website for that, but the city of Belmont has a website on that process. And, I think that those residents, your neighbors, are very concerned about, losing the protections that they have right now that exist under the county. And it's my understanding that the city really intends to recommend those protections staying as they are. But it's ultimately council's final decision. So if you, have a moment, that would be something I think is important and helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for coming, both Supervisor Corzo and Jacki as well. I don't want to take too much of your time.
Of course.
You came as we asked, and thank you so much. And
Okay.
we look forward to continuing to have you as our supervisor and working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Noelia. Thanks, Jacki.
Yeah, great. Wow, so many ways to get involved, right? And so little time for lots of people. That's what I keep thinking. But wow, that's really great information, Carrie, if we can get this shared out.
Yeah. So we'll I'll stop the recording now, and then we can definitely post this along with the links that were shared by Noelia and by Jacki, as well as as by Jozi too. And I think we'll double check if Jozi can share her presentation. Though it sounds like she's planning to post it on the website. So we'll keep an eye out for it as well. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.